Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Amplify Your Business. My name is Lance Johnson, and today we're going to be talking to Carol Lamb over at the Baking Barn. We're going to find out what she's been doing through the pandemic, and we're also going to answer some questions that she has about marketing so that she can do a more effective job in promoting and growing her business. So welcome to the show, Carol.
Thank you.
So now, Carol, for everybody who don't know you, Carol, you're down in Lethbridge, and so I'm up in Edmonton right now, and so that's why we're connecting through Zoom. And you started a business called the Baking Barn. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what this business is all about?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we're all about vanilla for sure. And so, and by the way, I love going into my commercial kitchen because it always smells amazing. So, for sure. But well, we started out making vanilla extract. And we would, for years and years, my family has done that. And so we've always handed it out to family and friends for Christmas, especially, and special occasions and that. And then we thought, hey, wait a minute, if everybody's loving it, our family and friends, wonder if we can kind of grow it from there.
Yeah, and so with the vanilla extract then, correct me if I'm wrong, but that comes from a bean, right? So were you importing the beans and then pressing them here locally, or what were you doing? How did this all begin, I guess?
Oh, awesome. You want me to give my secrets away?
Oh, okay, well,
What I do.
no,
Yeah. Well, the really cool thing about our extract is that we use glycerin instead of alcohol. So it's a huge difference than 99% or more of the extracts out there.
okay.
It's so when it's made with glycerin, it's a little bit thicker and it tastes super sweet. So all you get is a pure, sweet, full vanilla flavor instead of, well, with alcohol, you get that burn of that flavor. It's like, oh yeah, it's vanilla, but you get that burn. So depending on what recipes you use with it, it's not real fun that the alcohol base changes the taste of some of your favorite recipes. And so with this glycerin based one, it just adds a full vanilla flavor. And so that's totally an amazing thing right off off the bat. And I'm sipping it all the time just because I have to test it. And so it's just kind of an amazing thing. But so what we do is we start with the glycerin in huge containers, and I buy the vanilla beans straight from Madagascar.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really cool when they come in, and it smells amazing out there when I get that shipment in. And so then we just split them. We cut them right down in half and split them to be able to expose, they call it the caviar of the bean inside. It's just the teeny little seeds.
Okay.
And then we put those into the glycerin, and we shake it once a week for a full year.
No way. So it's aged in there for a year, and so the flavors extracted basically just naturally as it sits and ages.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we do. And so nothing else is added to it. That is it. And so it's just patience.
Wow. Yeah.
For a full year. And that's when the perfect blend is achieved, is after a year. If you look online, it will say, oh, after 3 months or after 2 months, you've got a vanilla. It's like, well, yeah, when you taste it, it tastes good, but it will not deliver that punch that you need in the recipes. It'll just kind of fade out in the recipe. So it really needs that time to be strong. So it's a really premium product that it takes that long. Now, because we're just really small, and my little commercial kitchen is here at our home, and converted our garage out back to that. And now I don't have the process that the big guys have, Clubhouse, and that they've been around for over 130 years. I'm not sure how they do it, but their process, I had phoned them and they said, we let the beans sit in the alcohol for like 48 hours. I thought, wow, I don't know how you do it, because it takes me a full year. So, maybe they have some other secret, but the longer it can sit, the more it pulls out of the beans all the many different flavors that the bean has.
Yeah, so it would be much more complex than in terms of the flavor profile as it ages. Whi- Which
Exactly.
which makes sense. I mean, when you think of like wine and so on, it's the same thing there, right? Like a good wine has to age properly, and so it's all about the way those flavors are being pulled out of the, well, in this case, the bean. So that's really interesting, and that does make a lot of sense now. Then in terms of how expensive it is. I mean, I'm not a baker myself, but my mother, who is just a wonderful baker, she's made incredible treats for us all my life, and I know that vanilla extract was always one of those things where she was always guarded it carefully because it was so precious in terms of its cost relative to the rest of the ingredients that she was using. And so for good quality, you have to pay the price, right?
Right. And that's the other thing that I really wanted to do, because I was born and raised in Southern Alberta, and I thought, I just want to make vanilla that the average person can afford.
Mm.
Because a lot of times through my life I would look, to go buy it, and I'm like, is that really the price that I have to pay? And it's like, oh, and so now that I'm making it, I'm really aware of that. And so our small 2 ounce is $13.99 on any shelf, that all the stores that we're on. And the average price is around $16
Oh, wow.
or higher. A lot of places, specialty stores and stuff, they're around 18, and some of them are just in the 30s for a little 2 ounce. And I'm like, yep, no, I'm going to do it what I can so that I can deliver it to more people, and so that they can enjoy it. And yeah.
Yeah. So now why Madagascar beans? What's so special about those?
Well, we've always been told that beans from Madagascar are the best vanilla beans in the world. And
Okay.
so, and that's what, if you research it at all, that's what they'll tell you. And I thought, I'm going to find out. So through all these years, I've bought them, got samples from lots of different places. And it's interesting because you were talking about the complexities of the vanilla beans, and each place definitely has their own taste, and colors, and all sorts of things. And I have definitely found myself that the ones from Madagascar have been my favorite.
Okay. Well, that's really good. So now when it comes to the products that you sell, then you use the extract and you're creating some vanilla sugars and other products. So walk us through, the breadth of products then that you're marketing with this extract then.
Sure. Well, let's see. The very next product that we went to after the extract was vanilla sugars, and I will tell you why. It's kind of cool. I'm just going to show you this picture because I don't know how else to do it.
Sure.
and and let me
Yeah.
see if I've got this right in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks great.
That is the coolest picture ever. And so what that is that is back in 1945. And that is my mom reaching up to her dad wanting to ride to town on the sugar beets.
Okay.
And so, and that was really the beginning of calling it Baking Barn. It was for my mom. And we have 5 generations in Southern Alberta Sugar. And so that's a cool story in and of itself. So my grandpa grew the beets and sold them. My mom lived on the farm and helped all of her life. And then I don't work with them, but I'm selling them. And so that's selling the vanilla sugars that we make. And then our daughter worked at the sugar beet factory in Tabor until she got married and moved away. And now our grandson has worked there for about 8 or 9 years at the sugar beet factory. And so it's like, this is pretty cool that we have 5 generations that have been in the Southern Alberta Sugar.
Yeah.
And
So it
so,
comes very natural then for you to be using
yeah,
the extract within it. Yeah. That's really
so
cool.
it's exciting. So everything we buy that we can is bought local.
Hmm.
And so of course we really believe in that. And so um the Rogers sugar is what we use for our vanilla sugars, and that's because that's where our family, the grandson works right now, and so what we do is have we have a few different processes, but with the vanilla beans, they are definitely usable after the full year of making the extract.
Okay.
Then we will take the beans out of there and dry them somewhat and stick them in the sugar everywhere in big containers of the sugar, and just keep mixing it and let that sit for about 4 months or so, and then scrape the beans, because there's lots of seeds in the beans, scrape it in there and stir it around, and you've got a really deep flavored vanilla sugar.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
for some reason, I thought you were using the extract then and kind of sprinkling it within the sugar, infusing that into the sugar, but you're actually using the beans after they've been extracted, the first round of extraction. That's
Mhm.
Oh, really cool. And
Mhm.
and so now you have a couple different sugars. So a spicy one.
Yeah, so that is the yummy top 5 pumpkin pie spices. So you got cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, all of those, and we add that with the vanilla beans as well and mix that into it. And that one is really amazing too. So there's so many uses for the vanilla sugar or the spiced vanilla sugar, and one of them would be like snickerdoodles. That's a great example, because in that recipe you use the extract as well as the vanilla sugar in the cookies, and then when you roll them into little balls, you roll it in the spiced sugar and
Okay.
then bake them.
Yeah. And then
So
also on your website, I saw a powder as well. So what is the powder exactly?
Oh, and we get that straight from Madagascar as well. And so what they do is just grind up the beans with all the seeds in it, and it is just the pure powder. And that's really hard to find. Not very many places around here. In fact, there's only one in Lethbridge that I know of that sells powder. It's our powder, and over at the Purple Carrot. And that, oh man, that is beautiful, because you add very little of that to any recipe. There's lots of different reasons why you'd want to use a dry powder in certain recipes than a liquid extract, and it's just the pure strong vanilla flavor, so you just use very little of it, and it goes a long ways in recipes. But I do add the powder into the sugars as well to make it a little bit stronger as well,
Yeah.
than just the beans, and so lots of different
Oh,
use.
that's really neat. So now, did this all come from a love of baking yourself then? Or where you really were on the hunt for a great vanilla extract and just couldn't find what you're looking for, and so you decided to take it on yourself?
Right. I guess we've always done homemade, everything from scratch. That's
Yeah.
just kind of really been instilled in me, especially, from the farm, and from way back. We had acres and acres of garden. And so we would do everything on our own. And I don't even know what it was. It was so many years back. We're like, why don't we make our own vanilla? Then we make everything else from scratch. Hey, let's try it. Let's start. And it takes a very long time, because if you're talking one batch takes a year, it takes a long time to be able to do all of the testing and tasting and seeing, to perfect it and stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's taken a long time, but it was kind of our love of all things natural, going back to the basics, of the farm, and such, of trying to do it, have everything as homemade as and fresh as possible.
Yeah, that's I growing up on a farm, and like I said, my mother being a baker, my grandmother as well. Like it was just all those wholesome, really great whole foods, right? That are just that's growing on the farm, and made with love with their hands. It was so good. So I hear you on that. Well, that's really neat. Now, so that's the story of the kind of the origin of the baking barn. And so, how's business been through the pandemic? I know there was a lot of people that were at home and they started doing more baking. There was like bread; everybody was making sourdough bread and all sorts of other delicious things too. So, did you guys experience a bit of a lift in sales then through the pandemic, or how did it treat you?
Well, it was interesting. I think more than a lift in sales was a shift that we experienced. So at first, we were just selling all of our products at farmers markets, and we thought, hey, that's probably what we'll do for the rest of our lives, is just the go to the farmers markets, because we were doing really well there. We thought,
Yeah.
hey, this is kind of cool. It's all good. That's what we can do. And then all of a sudden they shut them down. It's
Hmm.
like, well, now what are we going to do? We just barely started doing this and we're shut down already. This is crazy. And I just thought, I don't know, I guess we should try going into the stores. And since then, I have learned that that's really usually the hardest part of a business, is getting into the stores, getting people to listen to you. And that was the easiest part for me. And I'm glad I was naive at the beginning, because, or else I would have been really panicked or worried about it. But everybody said yes. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, this is pretty easy. All right. And so we got onto the shelves, and now we're getting into bigger ones. We're in all Calgary co-ops.
Right.
And soon to be in Friesen Brothers, and there's 15 stores there, 23 co-ops. We're in Nutters, there's 31 Nutters, and so bigger stores are taking us on. Oh, Save On just yesterday told us they're taking us on. So, and
Wow.
there's lots of Save Ons, and so it's exciting because all these places, not only for us, that we've changed our focus in that, but all of these other places really are focusing on local as well, like Save On and all that. And they love to have local for many reasons. You know, shipping, they can get it from me here. They aren't getting it from somewhere around the world.
Yeah.
And so lots of reasons that make local more appealing to them, which is great for us.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. Now, there's probably a lot of people on, that are watching this episode or will watch this episode who might be curious about the process of getting into those stores. And so you said you were quite naive. So did you use an agent or a wholesaler to get in the door, through the door basically with these stores, these retailers, or were you just knocking on doors? How did this go down for you?
Yeah, actually, and because of at the very beginning of the pandemic, everybody was, we were all kind of leery. And so I wasn't even knocking on doors. I was phoning them. And I just, and my pitch, I didn't even know what a pitch was at all. And I just phone them and say, I have an amazing extract. I am totally local. I'm literally a few blocks from you. Just take me on, and we'll see from there. And they're like, okay. and so and so that was exciting. And so some stores that are not big chains don't have a big process of getting in there. You just talk
Yeah.
to the owner and they're like, excellent, I'll take a few of these, and we'll go from there. And so that happened for a lot of small independent stores in Lethbridge. And then as I started talking to the stores that have chains and that, then I just talked to the purchaser. And I thought, well, should I change my pitch to something, professional that I've been taught since of what to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I just had a lot of luck winging it, and just from the heart of talking to people, and it's worked excellent for us. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's authenticity, right? Everybody responds well to somebody who's authentic and is speaking, like you said, from the heart and has a passion for what it is that they're selling and doing. So I think that translated across every industry and across every business. So that's wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that you found some success there. Now, when you talked about Save On as an example. So I mean, they have buyers that you have to try to set up meetings with and so on. How did that come about? Did they reach out to you after they started seeing it on shelves, or were you again just cold calling them?
yep, just cold calling them,
Yeah.
for sure, and just saying. And actually, they were the ones that I've been told by everybody that they love local and they really
Yeah.
push it and are happy with that. Well, they were one of the last ones to carry me. And so then I just called the guy again and said, look, you guys are supposed to be awesome for local. You haven't got me on the shelves yet. It's about time. We need to do this. And he's like, you bet, I'm going to ask head office again. And so he asked once more, if you get somebody that loves your product, that is a purchaser, and they go to head office, they're the ones that kind of pitch it for you. And so he did it again and said, we've got to get these guys on ourselves. And so then they then reached out to me and said, okay, this is what you have to fill out. And that's when you have to be a rocket scientist to fill all of their page after page after page of all this information. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And so that's a real difficult process. But once they are excited and want you on their shelves, then they help you out with that. And
For those who aren't able to access your product right now, if they're not close enough to you to be in some of the stopping by the farmers markets and so on, how are you selling it to them?
oh, dang it. Right now they can't. And I'm not sure what to do about that. It's all the growing process, right? We, literally didn't even think of doing this until the pandemic. And now we're on some shelves here, and it's exciting because we're all around Calgary and now Edmonton area. We're also in all the Sobeys and Safeway and IGAs. Well, not all of them, but have called them to be on their shelves. And in Edmonton, oh yeah, I can't remember the address, but we're in a Safeway in Edmonton. And so it's like, yay. And that's about it. Everybody has told me that it's really important to sell off of my website,
Mhm.
but I haven't done that because it's only me. That is it, who is doing everything, and I can only do so much. But the other thing is that I wanted to focus my time and energy on helping all of the stores that I'm in to be able to sell. So like marketing, trying to learn that and learn what I have to do in that way, instead of spending my time sending one extract or one sugar out to somebody wherever and trying to do the shipping thing. And to me, it's expensive. If you buy one little thing and it's in one little box, it's almost $20 to send it out for me at the courier that I use to send it out to somebody. And I thought, why would somebody want to, buy a premium product and pay like $20 on top of that for shipping? And so I just haven't gone that route yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things. It's actually quite surprising what business or what consumers will pay for good quality, and it sounds like a very unique product that you have that has a much better flavor profile and so on. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big opportunity in online sales for you, and that you can reach a broader audience. There are different fulfillment options that some businesses will take advantage of to try to keep those shipping costs down to minimum, or there's minimum order values that people have to place in order to get a discount on the shipping, or whatever the case might be. So there's different things to look at, but definitely in today's world, especially with COVID, really emphasized this for so many small businesses, is that we are a small community now globally. Like, everybody can access all this information from anywhere, and we all kind of expect to be able to order it, and we are now very used to ordering it online. And so that online purchasing is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so that's definitely a threat for some retailers. And so for a wholesaler like yourself, or somebody who's manufacturing, I think it's important to definitely look at it, especially in the space in which you are in, because there are so many passionate people out there who want great ingredients for their baking and for the home goods that they're making. So I would encourage you to definitely look at that. Hey, everybody, I just wanted to jump in here real quick at the end of what is really going to be part one of a two-part episode here. So when we started talking with Carol, we talked, as you just listened to, the backstory of her business. And it's a great story. She has a great little home-based business there. But then she started asking a lot of questions around marketing, and it actually went on for another half hour. And so I didn't want to make this episode too long. So we cut that portion out into its own episode. So it's a part two of this two-part episode. I hope that you check it out as well. And the rest of our videos are episodes over at amplifyyourbusiness.ca. And so if you're interested in checking those out, just head over there, and there's a whole pile of different episodes that we've interviewed other businesses and provided some advice along the way as well. So in part two, what you're going to hear is us explaining what she can do in terms of maximizing her reach, how to use video marketing, how to create videos inexpensively, how to leverage social media, and a whole pile of other stuff. So it's a really interesting episode that I think you might learn a few things from. So please check it out. Until next time, though, take care and stay safe.